The Street Profits recently had some interesting things to say that has everyone talking. So we'll see what they had to say. We'll also check out what's going on with Mandy Rose, some cancelled plans, and much more. Let's start things off with the interesting note about Mandy Rose winning the SmackDown Women's title. This whole scenario and story was supposed to go down in late 2018 and early 2019. Now, everyone remembers that Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey was one of the most anticipated matches at the time, and they were set to meet each other at Survivor Series that year. But thanks to Becky Lynch's broken nose, that match was cancelled and delayed until WrestleMania. WrestleMania 35 was supposed to be where Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey finally faced each other one-on-one for the Raw Women's Championship. But plans did change along the way, and it was decided to put the SmackDown Women's title on Charlotte Flair, and also include her into the WrestleMania main event. By doing this, it raised the stakes even more and created a winner-takes-all match with both the Raw and SmackDown Women's titles being on the line. So, what would have happened if WWE never decided to include the SmackDown Women's title in the WrestleMania 35 main event? Well, former WWE writer Dave Schilling recently took to Twitter to reveal what was going on behind the scenes at the time and revealed some of the original plans that got close to actually happening. In actuality, Charlotte Flair defeated Asuka for the SmackDown Women's title just 2 weeks before WrestleMania 35. But according to Dave Schilling, the original plan was for Asuka to walk into WrestleMania 35 as SmackDown Women's Champion and defend the title against Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville in a triple threat match. And the winner of that match that would have walked out as the new SmackDown Women's Champion would have been Mandy Rose. And in this timeline, this would have been before Mandy's move to NXT. So this would have counted as her first ever WWE title at the time. And who knows how it could have played out. Maybe Mandy would have taken advantage of her best friend, Sonya Deville, and pinned her for the title, which could have led to some tension and potentially a feud there. Mandy and Sonya would go on to have an amazing story and feud with each other in 2020. So it would have been interesting to see what that feud could have looked like after WrestleMania 35, with the SmackDown Women's title being in the picture. But the sudden change of plans made the winner of the women's triple threat match have the opportunity to have a career-defining moment and close out WrestleMania by becoming the undisputed women's champion. And that's exactly what the opportunity was for Becky Lynch. Becky would end up winning that match and forever immortalizing herself as the only winner of the first ever WrestleMania women's main event, but also the first and only superstar to unify the Raw and SmackDown women's titles. So even though it would have been interesting to see Mandy Rose win the SmackDown women's title at WrestleMania 35, putting both those titles on the line in the main event did make it feel that much more special and historic. So it was the right move. Dave also noted that Becky Lynch's popular name of Becky Two Belts was completely improv and something that Becky came up with on the spot. He said that everyone was scared that Becky Lynch would be punished because the term belt was on Vince McMahon's list of banned words. Vince McMahon always believes that the WWE championships should always be referred to as championships and not as belts, because belts does sound a bit devaluing to the titles. But thankfully for Becky Lynch, WWE and Vince McMahon didn't mind it, and they actually made a lot of merchandise with the Becky Two Belts nickname. So it was a win-win for every party involved. As far as the latest update goes with Mandy Rose, that's still a big mystery. Mandy has made it known publicly through several appearances after she left WWE that she would be open to returning to WWE one day. And reports have been claiming for a while that WWE did have interest in bringing her back in the future. So we'll have to see if that situation plays out and if Mandy Rose could return one day to actually capture the SmackDown Women's title. The Street Profits have been together in WWE ever since 2017. They showed up together in NXT as a tag team. They got called up to the main roster as a tag team and continued to be in a tag team in current day WWE television. An entire 6 years and counting as a tag team in WWE, which is pretty amazing. Outside of maybe the New Day, a majority of tag teams are usually short-lived in WWE. Most teams will have a little run with each other, and usually, maybe a little while after, they will go through an entire breakup angle. But that hasn't been the case for the Street Profits at all. There's no signs of tension or jealousy there at all, and they continue to be at peace with each other. Well, Angelo Dawkins recently appeared on the Attitude Era podcast and was specifically asked about a split from Montez Ford. Angelo had this to say if the Street Profits would ever turn on each other, quote, "Nah, never. We're brothers to the end. We're always gonna support each other no matter what. We always got each other's backs. We ain't never turning," end quote. So according to Angelo, the Street Profits turning on each other is not even on the table of possibilities. But it's been something that the fans have been discussing for a long time now, especially after Montez Ford's breakout performance during the Elimination Chamber match. Fans thought that that could be the perfect setup to see Angelo Dawkins start to grow jealous of all the spotlight that's been starting to go towards Montez Ford. Maybe Angelo feels like he's really been left in the dark by everyone, and that's what makes him attack Montez Ford, so that people can finally take notice of him once again and take him seriously. WWE only alluded to the idea that the Street Profits were growing apart back in summer 2022, but there was no real follow-up to that tension that they were teasing, and everything returned to normal shortly after that. So, it may not be happening anytime soon, but the basic foundation for a split storyline and feud are basically already in place. Everyone is always talking about how amazing Montez Ford is, and maybe Angelo Dawkins will finally reach his breaking point one day down the line. As far as the latest update for Montez and Angelo in current day, everything appears to be running smoothly for them. They still compete in tag team matches, but the both of them have been getting some time to shine in the singles matches recently as well. And everyone thought a lot of the fan hype does often go to Montez Ford. Angelo Dawkins does pull his weight in the ring too, and is just as impressive. So that's why their future is going to be very interesting and exciting to keep an eye on. If they stay together as a tag team and try to capture some more tag team gold together, that'll be great to see. If they decide one day to turn on each other, it's going to be amazing to watch that story unfold, and to see that match between the both of them as well. And from there on, they should both have absolutely amazing runs in the singles division. So there's a lot of great things to look forward to in the future of the Street Profits. But what are your thoughts on today's stories with the canceled plans for Mandy Rose and what Angelo Dawkins had to say? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.